So you want to talk to Orange Cat. That's perfectly
Yes.
fine. Did you want to go below deck to do this? Do you want to just stay on deck? It's up to you. Did you want Cat's Paw to hang out with you while you're doing this, or what?
I think I'm doing it alone, but I'm doing it on deck. So
Okay,
when people start hearing that they start meowing, then they can approach me.
okay, that's fine. So you cast Speak to Animals. What do you want to say?
Hi there, little fella.
Stop!
You don't seem surprised that I can speak to you.
You're a druid. I expect this all the time. Winnow, roll perception for me, please.
Yes. Now I feel like it's gonna fail now.
Oh,
No?
oh, that's perfect. That's
Wow.
great. That's awesome. Winnow, you start conversing with Orange Cat, and it comes to your attention that you know the cat and a cat's average intelligence. They're not they're not smart. They're
No.
when you talk to animals, it always depends on their yeah, they have an intelligence of 3. So, when you're speaking to an animal, they're usually like, oh, friend, hi, food, attack, basic stuff. You can't actually carry a conversation about, like, say, the theory of magic. They're not going to get it. But this cat seems to comprehend you rather easily, and he starts talking to you as if he's talking to, as if you were talking to a sentient humanoid. Um,
He
it's,
invents grammar for the cat.
yeah,
Great.
very, very advanced grammar for this cat. Like, he knows when to use semicolons and, all that other good shit. So he says, yeah, yeah, what's up? And he looks like he's kind of leaning back, kind of like, the most interesting man in the world commercials you see for that beer commercial. And he just kind of
Yeah.
just leans there and says, so, what's up? Took you long enough.
Yeah, but I wanted to give it some time. But now I'm really interested to see who you really are. Can you tell me a bit about yourself?
Of course. I was in my normal life, I was a wizard, and I was, doing some polymorphed myself into a cat. Witch curse, boom, I'm a cat now. That's all.
All
That's
right.
that's that's really all I have to. I mean, there's nothing much to it, man. So I've been a cat for the past. Could you hold up your fingers, please? Like, just do
All
this.
right.
Thank you. I need to pause. 24 years, 6 months, 3 days, and 8 hours.
Keep good track of time as well.
I don't have I don't have many things to do while I'm in this form, buddy.
Yeah, I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
How did it come that you got cursed?
you know, I was, schmoozing with this witch. She solid 8. She was a solid 8 on the 1 to 10, scale. And, apparently, I thought she was into me. I guess she wasn't. And, things got weird. She asked me to turn into a cat. So I'm like,
And
oh, okay, okay. If that's what
typical.
if that's what you're into, okay, cool. I turned into a cat, and she cursed me to stay in this polymorph form. Um, yeah, it's So I've been, trying to figure out how to change myself back ever since, and I haven't been very successful, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you have any contact with magic? Like, can you do any magic thing now in the cat form?
Um, it's hard because unless the spell is completely verbal, he can't really do the somatic signs because pause, not
Yes.
fingers. It's very hard, he says. But if the spell is it's purely verbal, I could probably do it. I've done a little testing, tried to cast things like magic missile. I've accidentally hit my friends, and I usually don't do it unless it's 100% emergency. But yeah, so the past, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you good with time magic? Were you good at time magic?
Not at all. I didn't
Damn
even
it.
know it existed.
I see.
Yes.
Well, how can I make it more comfortable for you? Do you want to live in the bag, or do you want to walk somewhere else?
Well, I mean, if you're, if you're walking at, full pace, I probably can't keep up very well. But if you're just hanging out on the ship, I can come out of the bag. For some reason, I've taken on cat-like tendencies, like sleeping 16 hours a day. So the bag's pretty comfortable. You might want to keep your pine cones or whatever you got in there in a separate pouch, because I've got some wicked bad scratches from those, man.
Oh, okay. I've started moving the bag, the stuff in the bag a bit.
Much appreciated. Okay. So.
What's your name? Or do you want me to keep calling Orange Cat?
My name is Rutherford Hayes the Third.
What do you want to be called? Or
Just call me
use it the
Orange.
whole time?
Just call me Orange Cat. It's what Jeannie was calling me for a couple of years.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's a very personal name.
Yeah, I mean, Rutherford Hayes the Third doesn't roll off the tongue, so to speak. So what do you want to know? Arcos and Denethor and other crew members, you can roll perception.
Okay.
I know my fiance is big into
Okay.
political. Yeah, I know where he was going. Huh? No. So perception and Arcos and Denethor and okay, good. That was actually a pretty good perception for me, Arcos.
Had a crit.
You notice that Hwinnil is conversing with this cat, and from your end it sounds like and
I say, ahoy, there'd be a crazy person talking to a cat there.
and
Kinda
immediately
into the pirate talk.
and immediately Julie's head pops up from the crow's nest. It said, "Who are you talking about?" And she's
point.
Oh, okay. And she goes back down into the crow's nest. And Denethor, you notice that the druid you just met is now talking very seems to be in a very lengthy discussion with this cat. And Hwinnil just looks at the cat and looks at her bird and is like, it's not that impressive, and just goes back to piloting the ship. Also, with your perception rolls, and also Julie's perception rolls actually shit this time. With your perception rolls, actually, please roll perception also. Awesome. All right. So you all will see this. There is a large creature in the distance. Does anybody say anything? A large flying creature in the distance.
I say like flying creature.
And well, you're
first on cat,
oh.
and then in normal.
Okay.
I go jumping around all acrobatic and shit, and I go up to the captain.
Okay.
I warn her about the creature.
All right. She looks, and then she takes out her he takes out a scope, and she looks through it, and she says, I guess it's not a smooth ride after all. And she just collapses it, puts it in her pocket. Excuse me, young man. And she's addressing you, Denethor. You see that big bell right behind us? I need you to ring it as hard as you can right now. Now.
I go and
Go. Now.
I
Go.
go
Go. She
I'm
starts
going.
showing. And so it's a large brass bell with like one of those knocking thingies. And as soon as you ring that, everybody on the ship starts scrambling. Acros, you notice that 2 men had left their, including the dwarf, have left their coal shoving station. You don't notice that at all. But you're there, and you're
I keep shoveling.
You shovel things and you put them in the coal thing, and then you're just shoveling, and you don't notice. The
Starting to sing a sea shanty.
Granule, Queen of the Pirates. So everybody's just scrambling on deck, and Denethor and Hwinnil, you see everybody but Acros just doing the same thing he's been doing for the past.
Do I have line of sight with Arcos?
Yes, you do.
And I shoot an arrow straight into his shovel.
Roll to hit, please.
I tell my cat, I tell the orange cat, I think we have to talk more later.
Okay. He says, I'll make sure the civilians are okay, and he goes, starts trotting underneath the deck. You'll do great, he says, and he just dives into a hole and leaves you to your person. Okay. All right. So, dead on. You shoot Acros.
Holy shit! We're under attack. I draw my sword and look for where the arrow came from.
Denethor, there is a tiefling with a sword drawn headed your way. He is you. So you get there, Acros, and there's the only person who has a bow out is Denethor.
I point towards the flying creature.
All right, so
Okay.
The flying creature is spotted ahead in front of the ship. It's getting closer. It's getting alarmingly closer. And when you see the creature, anybody who has knowledge nature, roll it. You can roll it unskilled, but you may or may not know what this is. Hwinnil.
I have it skilled, so.
Okay. And Acros. I know you probably have it unskilled. Oh wow. All right, Acros, Hwinnil. It's a giant rock, literally ROC. It's a large feathered creature, and you notice that in its talons, it's carrying something. You can't quite make out what it is, but around him are several smaller specks that look like they're flying ahead of the rock at this point. The reason that you guys could see it before, because a rock is a monstrous creature. It's huge. Probably has and I can tell you how big it is, and when I get to that page that I marked, there we go. They don't tell me how big he is, but he's gargantuan. If we were using typical battle style, he's gargantuan. He would easily take up like 1/5 of this ship. Wingspan even longer, if you're not counting the body. Does anybody have like a little scope they can try to look to see, or do you want to mention to the captain that maybe she can try to see if there's what is flying ahead of this monstrous creature?
Yeah, I think I would shout her. It's a rock, and it seems to have an escort or something.
And so, our Granule will take out the scope again, and she looks, and she's closes it, and says, "Okay." She turns to you, Denethor, and she says, "How good are you with a flamethrower?"
I'm as good as the next one.
Okay.
My eyes light up.
Okay. And she knows, and she asks you, Acros, How good are you with a flamethrower?
I don't know. It just sounds awesome.
She turns back to the ranger. All right, we have a. It looks like it is a boarding formation. I see riders on. She says hippogriffs. They are heading in front of the rock. I can't quite make out what the rock is. This sounds like a WWE like. The Rock is going to be. So I can't quite make out what the Rock is carrying, but it can't be good, and I don't want to smell what it's cooking. So all right. So
We're gonna cook it.
yeah, we'll maybe she says. I want to try to outrun it, but it's a rock. I don't think we are. Okay. So evasive maneuver. She starts calling out orders. The dwarf that was that shoved the shovel in your hands, Acros. You hear her call him Storm, for for short, and he nods and he starts climbing up to the crow's nest. All right, so she says we have several mounted guns on the ship. In front there, we can convert the little monuments with a couple changes into a harpoon. There are guns on the side of the ship, just behind the wings that shoot projections that are similar to nails. Try to with hooks at the end, so they're not easy to take out. They're barbed, and we also have a flamethrower in the back. She says, and she says, "What? I am having all crews do evasive maneuvers. I am having the engineers downstairs just pump as much power as possible, but that thing is going to catch up to us fast, the rock does look like it's hanging back. So that's why I think it's going to be a boarding formation. So let's see. You, Denethor, I want you on one of the guns on the side of the ship. You two, Druid. She points to Hwinnil. Acros. She kind of looks at you. Do you shoot things well?
Yeah. What do you think?
I would like you to try to persuade her
Okay.
that you shoot things well.
My dexterity is pretty good. All right. Persuasion.
Yep. She kind of, cocks an eye up and says, "Okay, but you're really good at shoveling things, I've noticed." So,
Indeed.
so she looks around. She grabs a huge, a bigger, shovel than you were using, and she's like, "Here, just do the exact same thing as you were doing, but faster."
Do you have two of those? I kind of take it in one hand.
She hands you another. Are you okay? Whatever. She shoves the other shovel in your hand.
Okay. I got it, Captain. I go off.
All right, and probably Brahm, probably Razor are, sending people downstairs, making sure things are working properly. As you guys will roll initiative now, because there are several. I need to get into the GM layer. Several hippogriffs with riders that. They're not at the side of the ship yet. You will get a couple shots before they get to you. Before they look like they're trying to line themselves up with the ship. So let's see. That one.
I have one thing I want to do before.
Okay, what's up?
I have a rope with a grappling hook.
Mm.
I will tie the rope to me. And have the grappling hook ready at the side.
That's a good idea. That is a very good idea, because none of you have rings of featherfall. Just keep that in mind. Or boots of featherfall.
Would it be two metagaming doing the same?
Pardon? What was that?
Would you allow me to do the same, even though my character technically doesn't know? I mean, he can see him do this.
I'll tell you, if you see Hwinnil doing this, you could say you do the same thing too. It's totally fine.
Okay.
Acros, I assume you're just shoveling coal at this point.
Yeah, I assume so.
Unless you want to do something else, you know.
No, I'm
Okay,
shoveling away.
okay, you're shoveling away. All right. So let me roll initiative for the 4. So they're not there yet. They're just headed towards your way. So you'll get a shot, maybe 2, before they start coming alongside blind spots where the guns can't get them. All right. So I'm gonna roll for the. I'm going to have the riders and hippogriffs go together. So the hippogriffs, since they're flying, I will get a +1. Okay. What's up?
Do we fight, like, fighting, but we're using the cannons, am I right?
Yeah,
so we're not actually using...
You are not using your bows, but, you know, I'll give you proficiency in your dex bonus because this is a ranged weapon.
Okay.
These weapons are made... Anybody who can pull a trigger can use this. It's designed for people who are not adept at using like bows or slings or whatever. If you pull a trigger, you can fire this thing. That's easy as that.
Was it a harpoon or
Um,
cannon?
she wants the harpoon. She mentioned the harpoon takes a really long time to reload. She wants to save that for the rock when it gets into range. And she is going to have a couple really big orcs man that because the harpoons. Remember how it took you like 1 round or even half a round to load a harpoon with one other person, Hwinnil? This harpoon is 3 times the size of the one you were using. This thing is designed to take down things like that if it hits. And that's the problem. You may have a chance if something happens to those guys. Just say.
Oh, I might make sure it happens something.
Okay.
No.
So what we got for initiatives, folks?
How much damage do these cannons do, by the way, so I can make a weapon of it and roll easier?
Okay. These will do. It's kind of like a spray, so they will do. These cannons will do 1. We will say 3d6.
Nice.
3d6. The barbs are also coated with a kind of paralyzing agent to them too. So yeah.
Sorry. What's the roll to hit on the weapon? Do we get any bonus?
It's dex proficient. Like I said, anyway, so use what proficient.
My proficiency bonus plus my dex bonus.
Whatever you use to hit with a longbow, use that. It's just the damage is 3d6.
So I get the archery bonus as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, turns. Alright, so we got 11, 24, 13. So I gotta delete that, 13.
And you said 3d6, am I right?
Yes, 3d6. Hippogriff. Plus rider. And they went at an 18. Alright. Awesome. The rock is not in range yet, so he will not have initiative, but I will keep an eye on how many rounds he will move. He moves pretty far in 1 round. Sorry. So he moves that far in 1 round. Okay. And he's probably that many away right now. Alright, I'll keep counting that. Denethor, you have a pop shot. You are able to take a pop shot at this guy or this guy. The range on these weapons are about... Arrows about 120. Let's say the range on these weapons are about 90-ish feet. And this map isn't to scale.
Oh yeah.
So
right.
You can probably hit them, and you can get 1 shot.
All of them?
Just one.
No, but I can target for.
Oh yeah, then just two then, because you have multi-shot, right?
No, not yet.
He was just meaning he could attack any that you.
Yes,
that
he
you
could.
see.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you can.
So I'm going to attack this one.
All right, that's perfectly fine. I should get out of the GM layer, huh? There we go. Okay, roll to hit. That is a. All right, let me ask you this: are you aiming for the rider, or are you aiming for the bird?
I'm aiming for the rider.
Okay, then I have to do this. That hits, and roll damage, please. As these barbed wires. As these barbed wires go in, and you see him just kind of do that movie star type of deal when the action hero just pelts a guy full of Uzi shots, and he just goes and he just falls off, and the bird is, so I'll make sure that I'll name this as 0 so I know that the guy fell off. All right, so he falls off, and the hippogriff looks slightly confused for the moment, and it will be the riders. Like I said, you guys are going to have a turn, so these guys are just going to get closer. The 3 are going to get closer now, and you notice that there are 2 more in the distance. I will put them, let me get back into the GM layer so I can reveal these. There are 2 more in the distance behind the ones that you were shooting at currently. And it is Hwinnil's turn.
Alright, I will shoot this one.
Okay, go for it. So that one doesn't have the rider.
I
Okay.
think it's a 13.
Okay. 13 easily. These guys. So you're getting a closer look at the riders of these creatures, and you notice something, and they have face tattoos. And Denethor, Hwinnil and Denethor, you're both from the Western continent, right?
Yes.
Roll knowledge history for me, please, both of you. Okay. You recognize the facial tattoos. In Robur, slaves are given facial tattoos similar to brands to signify who bought them and who they belong to.
That's convenient.
It's very convenient because slaves tend to escape, and sometimes it's like a microchip. You need to know where your slave is. Sometimes these tattoos are magically enhanced to be like GPS trackers. But if the slave owner is rich enough to afford the magical ink and all the components, but that's a story for another time. You recognize these as slaves from Robur. Slaves from the Elven lands have regular brands, but the desert people use the face tattoos. So that's a little hint. They're not wearing much, just like simple leather, and they don't look like, other than having awesome hippogriffs, they don't look like they're armed very well when you finally get a closer look. Just